Hello and welcome to lecture number 2, where we will be focusing on ethical issues in data collection and usage. And we are saying at the introduction step, the digital age has now ushered a new era of unprecedented data collection and usage. So in the digital age now, we are having a lot of activities that are involving the collection of data, unprecedented data or unprecedented data. Remember, we have guys are now on social media. For you to log in or to register for any social media account, it amounts to disclosure of your information, your date of birth, your identity. Some are even uploading their images as profile pictures. So now we are at that particular dispensation, and we are saying while data offers have immense benefits, we also need to ensure its ethical implications that we require careful consideration. And then we also keen to note that this presentation explores key ethical issues in data collection and usage, where we need to raise awareness and be able to promote responsible practices. We have what we call informed consent and transparency. And we need to note that obtaining informed consent is very, very crucial for ethical data collection. So we need to have a client give a yes for his data to be used in a certain way. And individuals also should understand how their data is collected. So they need to know that how is it going to be used. Those are crucial, very crucial information, and have the right to grant or withhold the consent. So they should have the right to say no or yes to whatever data that is being sought from them. So the issue of transparency is very key. Businesses need to be very clear in terms of their data practices and how they protect their user privacy. Now, what is the importance of informed consent? Number one, we intend to respect individuals' rights to decide on their personal information. So that's very, very important. And the second issue in terms of importance of informed consent and transparency is going to ensure individuals are aware of how their data is going to be collected. It is also going to ensure individuals are treated with dignity, and also it is going to help build trust and confidence between individuals and organizations. We look at the key elements of informed consent. The first one is clarity and comprehensiveness. And in this, we mean that individuals should understand what data is being collected. So explain to them in details, and also tell them how it will be used and with whom it will be shared. That's a very, very critical element. And then the second element is specificity. Consent should be very specific to the intended use of data. We need to avoid any blanket permissions. And then the other one is revocability. Individuals should have the right to withdraw their consent at any time. And finally, we have importance. Informed consent empowers individuals to control their data and make informed choices about its use. Other key elements are going to include accessibility. Information about data practices should be easily accessible, and everybody should be able to understand that information. Remember, for example, for countries that hold elections, they have citizens' data in terms of fingerprints, in terms of ID numbers, in terms of photos. That is data that could be misused. So the public needs to be aware that their data is safe, their images are safe, their fingerprints are safe. And then the other one is comprehensiveness. Businesses should provide clear information about data protection, storage, usage, and retention. And then also another key element is in terms of regular updates, where we need policies and procedures should be updated regularly to reflect changes in data practices or regulations. And the importance of doing all this is that transparency is going to foster trust by allowing individuals to understand how their data is being handled. And also we are going to have the business being held accountable. Best practices for informed consent and transparency. What is it that we need to do so that we can ensure we are doing it right? Number one, we need to be able to use clear and concise language, a language that whoever that you want their data can be able to understand. Other institutions that have clients' data is the banks, and they know quite a lot about you in terms of even your account and the monies that you may have there. All those are private information. So as you explain to them maybe the reason why a deduction was made in their account, you need to use very simple language, and also provide multiple channels for receiving consent and information. Also offer easily understandable privacy notices and data policies. So you could communicate these data policies to them for them to be able to understand. And also regularly engage with stakeholders and the publics. That is very, very crucial. So keep informing them and assuring them that their data is safe. And then also the need for you to conduct data privacy audits and assessments. When we talk about these audits, there are assessments and evaluations conducted to assess an organization's compliance with privacy laws. So we need to ensure that we are doing it right. And then also we need also to prioritize user-friendly data control mechanisms. Now, there are benefits of informed consent and excuse me, and transparency. Number one, we are going to be able to build trust and loyalty with customers and stakeholders. We are also going to be able to reduce the risk of data breaches and privacy violations. We are also going to enhance compliance with data privacy regulations. And also we are able to, other benefits that we gain is our ability to foster responsible data innovation and development. And finally, we are going to benefit in terms of empowering individuals to be able to strengthen their data rights. We have what we call data bias and discrimination. We talked about algorithmic biasness, for example, in matters credit scores, and we are saying they can arise using biased data or algorithms, leading to discriminatory outcomes. So discriminatory outcomes could be in the sense of who is going to qualify for the information that we intend to give in terms of the amount of money that one qualifies for. And we are saying an example of data bias is when we use algorithms unfairly to disadvantage certain groups of candidates. And these candidates could be maybe in a financial institution setup, and businesses must be very, very vigilant in identifying and mitigating data biasness to ensure fair, equitable, and treatment of all individuals. Data security and privacy breaches. We're saying data breaches can expose sensitive information and cause significant harm to individuals. Businesses also have a responsibility to be able to implement appropriate security measures, and this is in the quest for them to be able to protect data, their unauthorized data, and and misuse. Then we have regular security audits and updates are essential to maintain data integrity and user trust. The right to be forgotten and data erasure, we had mentioned this in our first discussion, and we are saying individuals need to have the right to request erasure of their personal data under certain circumstances. Probably we could be having issues of data breaches within the company setup, and then therefore the rest who their data maybe has been secure and feel now that they are likely to be exposed, we are saying that they have a right to approach the organization and request their data to be erased. And we are saying this right empowers individuals to control their online presence and limit the potential harm from outdated or inaccurate data. And that's why Facebook has also the ability for you to even deactivate your account completely. Yeah, that is part of being forgotten and erasing that information. And businesses also must have very clear procedures in terms of how to handle data erasure requests. So how do you go about it if it happens? Balancing innovation and ethics. We are saying technological advancements may offer existing opportunities for data-driven solutions, but when we have ethical considerations must not be overlooked. So businesses need to prioritize data practices through innovation processes, ensuring that new technologies benefit societies without compromising individuals' rights to privacy. We have what we call data ownership and intellectual property. When we talk about data ownership and intellectual property, we first need to understand that data is a very valuable asset. Now, the key question in this particular discussion is who owns this data thereof? And we are saying this question is very, very complex in the digital age. It may be very difficult for us to determine who owns the data and where is data often generated, collected, shared across different entities. So by this discussion now, we are going to explore concepts of data ownership, issues around intellectual property rights in relation to data, and we are going to be highlighting key issues and considerations. When it comes to data ownership, we have different perspectives. Remember, we have asked ourselves a very crucial question: who owns the data? So we have different perspectives. Perspectives on the side of looking at who has created the data or who is the generator. And we are saying individuals often argue ownership of data they create. For example, when you take photos with your camera or your mobile phone or social media posts, so that could be viewed as you are the creator or the generator of that particular image or post. And then we have a collector or aggregator. Companies that collect and process data can claim ownership or rights that are derived from the processes. And then finally is the legal frameworks. When we bring in data privacy regulations, they may grant individuals their rights over personal data. But the issue of ownership, thus, as we conclude this particular discussion, we are saying that it is still an area for debate. That question of who therefore owns the data is a question that we need to continue to debate. Types of intellectual property rights are relevant to data. We have conversations around copyrights, where we do protect the expression of data, such as creative works or databases. I'm sure you've come across textbooks, music. Those are part of the data that is protected from copywriting. Means I cannot just pick somebody's textbook and photocopy it. And also trade secrets, protective confidential business information with economic value. We have trade secrets. If, for example, I ask you today, what products does Coca-Cola use to make their brand, Fanta, Sprite, and all others, you may not really have the answer. That is an example of a trade secret. And if they disclose that, probably it could push them out of the market because of competition. We have issues around patents, protect inventions and innovative uses of data. We have issues around databases rights, the need to protect the structure and selection of data in certain jurisdictions. We have challenges and considerations, challenges around attribution and traceability, identifying the true originator of data and its ownership. It's usually very, very challenging. Sometimes when crime has been committed, one of the things that the police force use to try and find out who committed a crime is through crucial obtaining of data. For example, call logs, they can be able to follow that. And sometimes now it becomes easy to trace this person. For example, if they went to commit the crime and they did not have a mobile phone, then the issue of traceability becomes very difficult. Data derived from other data, ownership rights become complex when data is processed, analyzed, or combined with other sources. And finally, other considerations or other challenges revolve around contracts and agreement, where we have clear and specific agreements between data providers and users are very crucial for data, where we define ownership and usage rights. Best practices for responsible data management. Number one, we need to be transparent about data collection and usage practices. We need to obtain informed consent from data subjects when necessary. So let somebody approve if they need their data to be used. There is also the need to have respect individual privacy rights and data protection regulations. And also, as a best practice, also we need to clearly define data ownership and usage rights in contracts and agreements, and also implement robust data security measures to be able to protect data integrity. What is bias in data analytics? We are saying biasness is going to refer to the systematic prejudice that is reflected in data, algorithms, and analytical processes that lead to discriminatory outcomes. Some of the sources of biasness when it comes to analyzing data is when we are doing data collection. We could experience sampling errors, we could have underrepresentation of certain groups, algorithmic design, assumptions that are embedded in algorithmic perpetuating existing biasness. For example, how we defined how financial institutions determine your credit worthiness, and also the human judgment, subconscious biasness in influencing data interpretation or model selection. Impacts of bias in data analytics. Biased data analytics can have significant negative impacts, including issues around discrimination, where we have unequal opportunities or access to resources based on biased algorithms. The other one is inaccurate predictions. This includes models failing to accurately represent diverse populations, and also erosion of trust, where the public now distrusts in data-driven decision making. The public do not trust you when it comes to issues around decisions that are supposed to be made using certain data. Then we're also going to look at the strategies for promoting fairness. What do we need to do? Promoting fairness in data analytics, we are saying, requires a multi-pronged approach. And this includes data awareness, where we need to identify and mitigate potential biasness in data collection and sampling, and also algorithmic transparency, understanding how algorithms work and addressing embedded biasness around that. Strategies for promoting fairness. What we need to do, we also require a human oversight. So we can implement a human review and intervention mechanisms. So even if we are using algorithms, we can now bring in a human hand to be able also to keenly look whether the algorithms and the systems that are generating, for example, these credit scores, they are fair to every customer. And then we also have diversity and inclusion, where we build diverse teams involved in data analysis and decision making, and also accountability and monitoring. Regular evaluating data analytics, processes for fairness and biasness. So thank you very much. I invite you to review this discussion on various areas so that you can be able to understand and do research around each of the slides.